We have all been there. You have a deadline. It's important. You want to do a good job. And yet, you find yourself cleaning the kitchen, organizing your desktop icons, or doing literally anything other than the work you need to do. Welcome. Today we are exploring the nature of procrastination. This presentation is a review of the comprehensive meta-analysis and theoretical framework published by Dr. Piers Steel in the Psychological Bulletin. We are going to strip away the myths and look at the raw mechanics of why we fail to regulate our own behavior. First, if you struggle with procrastination, you are not alone. Far from it. The data shows that 80 to 95% of college students engage in procrastination. Even more strikingly, about 50% procrastinate consistently and problematically. It's not just a student issue either. Between 15 and 20% of the general adult population are chronic procrastinators. This isn't just a harmless quirk. It has real costs. In the United States alone, surveys suggest hundreds of millions of dollars are lost annually in tax overpayments simply because people rush their returns at the last minute, leading to errors. It affects our wealth, our health, and our well-being. But what exactly is procrastination? We often confuse it with simply waiting or pondering. Dr. Steele defines it very specifically. It is to voluntarily delay an intended course of action despite expecting to be worse off for the delay. Keyword: worse off. It is an irrational delay. If you delay a task because more important information is coming, that is just good planning. Procrastination is when you know delaying will hurt you, you intend to do the work, and yet you don't. It is the quintessential failure of self-regulation. It is tempting to blame the internet, smartphones, or modern life for our inability to focus, but the historical record begs to differ. Procrastination is an archetypal human failing. In 800 BC, the Greek poet Hesiod advised farmers not to put work off until tomorrow and the day after. In 44 BC, Cicero, the great Roman orator, called procrastination hateful. While modern technology provides more temptations, the fundamental flaw lies not in our devices, but in our nature. This is perhaps the most important part of Dr. Steele's review. He conducted a meta-analysis of 691 correlations to see what really drives procrastination. The results might surprise you. There is a popular idea that procrastinators are perfectionists, that they delay because they are afraid they won't do a perfect job. The data says no. The correlation is weak or non-existent. In fact, perfectionists often procrastinate less because they are organized. It's also not strongly linked to neuroticism or rebelliousness. So, what are the real culprits? Number 1, task aversiveness. If a task is boring or unpleasant, we avoid it. Number 2, impulsiveness. This is the strongest personality predictor. Procrastinators are often impulsive people living in the moment. And finally, low self-efficacy. If you don't believe you can succeed, you won't start. To make sense of all this data, Dr. Steele proposes the Temporal Motivation Theory, or TMT. It gives us a mathematical formula for our motivation. Let's look at the equation. On the top, the numerator, we have expectancy times value. This represents our desire. We are motivated to do things we think we can succeed at and things we find rewarding. But look at the denominator. This is where procrastination lives. Delay. We divide our motivation by the delay. The further away a reward is, the less it motivates us today. The symbol gamma represents our sensitivity to delay, essentially, how impulsive we are. Let's visualize how this formula creates chaos in our lives. This graph represents hyperbolic discounting. The red dashed line represents a distraction, socializing, or playing a video game. The reward is small, but it is immediate. It has zero delay, so its utility is constant. The blue line is writing an essay. The reward for a good grade is huge, but it is far away in the future. Because of the delay, the value is crushed. Look at the intersection point. For weeks, the utility of socializing is mathematically higher than the utility of the essay. We aren't being lazy, we are maximizing our immediate utility. However, as the deadline approaches, the delay shrinks. Suddenly, the blue line shoots up. We hit the action point. Panic sets in, and finally we start working. This preference reversal is the heartbeat of procrastination. When we map this onto personality traits, we find that procrastination is essentially a lack of conscientiousness. Specifically, it correlates strongly with low self-control, high distractibility, and poor organization. Interestingly, research shows that procrastinators rarely have an intention deficit. If you ask a procrastinator, "Do you plan to work hard?" they will say yes. The correlation between intention and procrastination is near zero. The failure isn't in the planning, it's in the gap between the plan and the action. So, how do we hack the equation? TMT gives us a blueprint for intervention. First, we look at the top of the equation: expectancy and value. To improve expectancy, we need to build self-efficacy. We need to prove to ourselves we can do it. This creates a spiral of success. To improve value, we must deal with task aversiveness. If a task is boring, our brain rejects it. Paradoxically, making a task harder or more challenging can sometimes reduce procrastination because it becomes more engaging. Or, we can use learned industriousness, pairing the unpleasant task with immediate rewards, like a favorite coffee or music, to boost its immediate value. Next, we must attack the bottom of the equation: delay and impulsiveness. We cannot easily change our biology, but we can manage our sensitivity. This means stimulus control. If you are impulsive, you must remove the cues for procrastination. Turn off the notifications. Clear the desk. And finally, we must reduce delay. This is the most powerful tool. If a deadline is 3 months away, the delay is too high. We must break that project into proximal goals, deadlines that are today or tomorrow. By artificially shortening the delay, we trick our motivational curve into spiking earlier, keeping us consistent. In conclusion, procrastination is not a disease, but a natural consequence of how human beings value time. However, as we move into a future where work is less structured and distractions are infinitely available, this failure of self-regulation will likely become more prevalent. By understanding the physics of our motivation, by balancing our expectancy and value against our sensitivity to delay, we can close the gap between who we intend to be and who we actually are. Thank you for watching.